The health emergency disaster due to the spread of the novel Wuhan coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is a type of influenza, and it continues to bring challenges in new forms of communicating, ways of doing business or not, and general altered living conditions, as a stay-at-home order means that everyone's life has changed this spring. DCTV Daily News and partners continue to work diligently to bring you the latest information and how this impacts you, the community. Wash your hands, stay well and strong. Hello, I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the special district association responsible for bringing the area free to access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information that you would like to share, you can call us at the station, leave a message, 970-677-4119. And if you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Monday program for April 13th, 2020, DCTV Daily News. So around the world, the largest religious following of Jesus Christ and the resurrection celebration known as Easter was for the first time in known history mostly canceled in terms of worshipers gathering together in person. But as the Wall Street Journal writes, it was the, quote, strangest Easter ever. Coronavirus maintains its grip as talk of reopening percolates. Officials warn any early signs of success in curbing the pandemic shouldn't mean a quick lifting of lockdowns. Churches held Easter services with few or no parishioners. The U.S. leads the world in both number of confirmed cases at over 530,000 and fatalities at over 20,000, according to data from Johns Hopkins University, surpassing Italy's death toll. The U.S. has more than 5 times the population of Italy and fewer deaths per capita than the European country of over 60 million people. Globally, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases topped 1.8 million on Sunday. Under restrictions imposed to battle the pandemic, millions of Catholics and Protestants marked Easter, the holiest day on the Christian calendar, in isolation at home, in many cases watching their priest or minister on TV or over the internet. At the Vatican, Pope Francis on Sunday proclaimed what he called a, quote, contagion of hope after he offered Mass in a near-empty St. Peter's Basilica. In the U.S., top health officials and state and local political leaders expressed caution on Sunday about reopening the U.S. economy on May 1st, a date some Trump administration officials have posed as a possible time for easing restrictions and getting the country back to work. The debate about when to reopen focuses on several data points officials are watching closely, including the number of new infections, death counts, the number of admissions to hospitals, intensive care units, and the number of ICU patients being intubated for the use of a ventilator. Quote, we see the light at the end of the tunnel, Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Stephen Hahn said on ABC. But I think it's just too early for us to say whether May 1st is that date. The decision on lifting restrictions and encouraging businesses to restart rests mainly with state and local officials. The White House guidance can have a big impact. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, told CNN that some limited openings might be possible by May. Quote, I think it could probably start, at least in some ways, maybe next month, he said. We're hoping that at the end of the month we could look around and say, okay, is there any element here that we can safely and cautiously start pulling back on? But Dr. Fauci added that it's not going to be a light switch that we say it is now June, July, click, the light switch goes back on. He said that it depends where you are in the country. Interventions such as banning public gatherings can spread out a pandemic, preventing hospitals from being overloaded. Meanwhile, as churches were ordered to close and not even hold loudspeaker ceremonies in the outside parking lots with people socially distancing in their vehicles, millions of Christians marked the holy day through television and internet services as regions observed strict lockdowns to battle coronavirus spread, which happened here as well in Dolores County and Montezuma County for sure. It is also interesting to recall that back in 2014, there was an order to create special clergy teams. The FEMA DHS drills were predicted on bioterrorism and pastors were trained to go to the homes where people refused to be relocated by authorities, and their immediate job was to convince the reluctant to willingly go to the relocation camps. Ostensibly, this was to be done in lieu of sending in the SWAT teams. These clergy were trained to help mitigate problems with parishioners. Fortunately, at that time, these were only drills. Pastors from that time were quoted saying that FEMA camps were real and that much of the clergy training focused around this scenario of pastors operating within the forced relocation centers. The main goal of a pastor assigned to a FEMA was to bring order and encourage compliance with the DHS request, hence the emphasis on Romans 13 of the King James Bible. So though it was a peaceful Sunday in most places around the world, you can sense the righteous rumbles of the populations wondering just how much of this lockdown mode is truly for health safety, or is this more about a power play and not respecting individual rights? It's a balance that may only be seen for the truth in hindsight. Meanwhile, continue practicing social distancing, extreme hygiene, and as Romans 13 says, paraphrased, do what the state tells you to do. From the Colorado Gazette, their headline reads, "Social distancing pushes Colorado's coronavirus peak to May or later," officials now say. Social distancing and the governor's stay-at-home order have pushed the expected peak of coronavirus cases in Colorado to May or later, state officials reported last Thursday at a press conference. Quote, "Social distancing has worked, and we have pushed that curve to the right as we've hoped to," said Scott Bookman, incident commander for the state's coronavirus response. The state now has an excess of ventilators and is preparing for more to arrive, including the 100 promised earlier this week by President Donald Trump. Those are expected to arrive within 24 hours, last week, officials said, adding that a surge of patients is still expected in the coming weeks. There are about 1,700 local ventilators in the state, a spokeswoman for the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment said in an email. Initial modeling showed that in a worst-case scenario, Colorado would need 10,000 ventilators at the virus's peak. New models show that number may be closer to 5,000, she said. The number of Coloradans requiring a ventilator changed by the hour, but we're working very closely with our hospital partners to create a system that allows us to track this more rapidly. The spokeswoman said, based on our modeling data and the trajectory of this virus, we still need to work to procure more ventilators from all possible sources so that our healthcare partners can be prepared for a potential surge. But a lack of specimen collection kits and personal protective equipment persists, Bookman said, adding that the state is considering sterilization methods that would allow for the repeat usage of such equipment. A little over $50 million has been spent by the state on personal protective equipment, much of which will be reimbursable, said Mike Willis, director of the state's Emergencies Operations Center. The update came as Colorado Governor Jared Polis announced that he will be extending the disaster emergency declaration until May 8th, allowing for the state to continue using additional resources, such as the Colorado National Guard. That may not mean the stay-at-home order goes till May 8th. That's right now till the 26th of April. But that means that the disaster designation will remain until May 8th. And the order also allows the state to implement the Colorado Crisis Standards of Care Plan, which serves as a guideline for allocating medical resources, such as ventilators. Some measure of social distancing will likely persist as the state transitions out of the stay-at-home order, Willis said, particularly to protect vulnerable populations. Quote, "You can expect to be encouraged to do social distancing for the foreseeable future," he said. "That brings me to our community's concern, looking forward to the Pick and Hoe. At this point, for July 3rd and 4th, the DC Chamber is still coordinating for activities on Friday and Saturday, but the Pit Meat Barbecue has been canceled due to the amount of money outlay that has to be put up out front and ordered, so that then you might have a large cancellation, and fundraising has been curtailed due to the economic impacts that the coronavirus closings have made in our community. So we are moving forward with reaching out to vendors to fill the food gap for both Friday and Saturday. If all can go well, Friday will be the tournament's day with an evening main drag or cruise that brings people to the Friday night sock hop dance at the park. The theme, which had been created prior to COVID-19 lifestyle, is called Reunited, a look back to the 1950s when it all began. That may have been prophetic, as we all certainly do want and need to be reunited as a community. Then Saturday, the 4th of July, would be the parade in the morning, followed by games in the park as can be made available. Again, with social distancing enforced, mostly all of this will have to be canceled. So it's a wait and see. We have a wonderful band scheduled for Saturday evening, and the DC Volunteer Fire Department will go on with the fireworks on Saturday night, regardless of our state of emergency, of course, unless we have a fire ban in place, which could throw a wrench in that too. But let's all keep hopeful that in at least some regard, we will be able to celebrate our Independence Day and Pick and Hoe celebration at the beginning of July. Fingers crossed, time to pray for many things, and if you could add this to your list. The Journal reported on the state of water reserves. McPhee Reservoir is expected to provide a full irrigation supply. This is good news, but a boating release below the dam is not expected, water officials report. Dolores Basin snowpack was at 96% of average as of April 9th, and runoff forecasts show a strong probability that the reserve will nearly fill, said Eric Sprague, engineering technician for the Dolores Water Conservancy District, during a meeting held via video conferencing last week. Farmers are expected to receive their full allocations, but a spill is not likely. No monsoons and a warm fall dried out the soil. Early winter snowfall hovered near the historical average until it dropped after a dry February and early March. Storms in late March bumped it back up to near normal. But the combination low soil moisture, non-existent low elevation snow, and irrigation demand means a whitewater boating release is unlikely, said Ken Curtis, general manager of the Water Conservancy. Quote, "There is less than a 30% chance of a spill," Curtis said. Runoff forecasts show the Dolores Basin snowpack will generate 130,000 to 200,000 acre feet, and it takes from May through July to make it into the reservoir, he said. Average soil moisture in the Dolores River Basin is estimated to be below 50%, so a lot of the runoff will be absorbed into the ground before draining into McPhee, Groundhog, and Narragansett reservoirs. McPhee has an active carryover supply of 127,000 acre feet. A full active supply is 230,000. Because of the unlikelihood of a recreational dam release, the annual whitewater boating meeting in Dolores this year is not planned. During the 2018-19 winter snowpack, was 140% of normal and generated a 51-day whitewater boating release below McPhee Dam. During the dry 2017 to 2018 winter, snowpack was just 50% of normal and caused irrigation shortages and no whitewater spill. So now let's take a look at the local weather for the week. Today, sunny but cool with a high near 46 degrees and breezy with a northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour and gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. Tonight, looking for mostly clear skies and a low around 22. Again, quite blustery with a northwest wind at 15 to 20 miles an hour, becoming north-northeast after midnight, and the winds again can gust as high as 30 miles an hour for the overnight. For Tuesday, sunny and a high near 44 degrees. Those north winds remain around 10 to 15 miles an hour. And then into Tuesday night, clear with a low around 23. The winds from the north-northwest lessen a bit from around 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming light north in the evening and warming up a bit for Wednesday. Sunny with a high near 54 degrees. Light and variable winds becoming west-southwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour in the morning. But once again, those winds could gust as high as 20 miles an hour for Wednesday. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 32. And we continue a warming trend into the weekend. Up next on Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 57 degrees. Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low around 32. For Friday, mostly sunny and a high near 59. Friday night, partly cloudy with a low around 35. And Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 60 degrees. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 35. And now, back to the news. The Colorado Sun and Durango Herald reported that San Miguel County suspends then recommits to their testing experiment. San Miguel County last Thursday restated its commitment to a first-of-its-kind partnership with a company providing free COVID-19 testing to anyone who lives in Telluride or the surrounding area, reversing an announcement earlier in the week that health officials were suspending the project. The county last Tuesday said in a now-deleted news release that it was temporarily shutting down testing because the lab of United Biomedical Inc., which is providing the tests, had been, quote, compromised due to the virus. Hours later, United Biomedical said it was not compromised and that its labs were constantly working around the clock to process results from our friends and neighbors. San Miguel County walked back its suspension Thursday afternoon and apologized for confusion caused by earlier statements. Quote, the indication that the lab was compromised was was unintentionally misleading, and the county apologizes for any confusion it created, the news release issued Thursday read. San Miguel County remains confident in the quality of test results from UBI. Health officials have declined to comment further as they work through containment and testing plans for the county, which last Thursday reported its 11th case of COVID-19, the disease caused by the Wuhan coronavirus. San Miguel County and United Biomedical made international news last month with a plan to screen everyone in the county twice with a new blood test. A subsidiary of the company owned by part-time Telluride residents Mei Hu and her husband, Lou Reese, created the test and offered $15,000 to the county free of charge. Hu and Reese said that they would send samples voluntarily provided by the county's approximately 8,000 residents to United Biomedical labs in California and New York. The testing was announced before San Miguel County had any confirmed coronavirus cases among the residents. The county was among the first in Colorado to announce a lockdown as it prepared for contagion in the Box Canyon of Telluride, population 2,500, and other rural corners of the county. The promise of testing an entire population of people, whether or not they were showing symptoms of the coronavirus, resonated nationally as a way to more wholly examine the disease's fatality rates and spread. Sporadic testing of mostly sick people has left many unknowns in the battle to prevent the spread of COVID-19, forcing policymakers to pursue sweeping closures to thwart worst-case scenarios, including the March 14th shutdown of all Colorado ski resorts. Mass testing of all 3,000 residents of Vo, Italy, in March allowed the town to isolate people before they showed signs of infection, which effectively eradicated the virus in less than 2 weeks. The result in Vo highlighted the need for widespread testing, revealing that a significant number of residents who were infected showed no symptoms. The same hope for a data-based intervention resonated well beyond Telluride and San Miguel County. The first round of tests processed by United Biomedical involved 645 first responders and healthcare workers, and all tested negative. By the end of March, volunteers had collected 4,285 samples from county residents. Results from 986 tests done at United Biomedical labs on March 26th and 27th showed 8 positive results, 23 borderline, and 955 negatives. So the first 1,631 test results in the county showed less than 2% were positive or borderline. By Monday of last week, the San Miguel County Department of Public Health was waiting on results from more than 4,400 first-round tests it sent to United Biomedical. The county was growing frustrated by unexpected delays in processing and announcing results, which United Biomedical had said could be delivered in 24 to 48 hours. The department said United Biomedical was reporting industry-wide disruptions because of the pandemic, especially at its New York facility. The next day, the county's Board of Commissioners announced the health department was delaying the second round of testing because of United Biomedical's considerable reduced ability to process the test due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Grundy, in a statement earlier last week, said that the test results will still have value, even though they will be delivered weeks late. Thursday's statement said the county is standing by to resume testing, and any delay does not invalidate results. The data will provide us with a better understanding of the prevalence of the virus in our community and how those who were exposed to COVID-19 fared, she said earlier last week. Hu said her labs are seeing increased demand in the midst of an unprecedented global public health crisis, and that she was looking forward to the second round of testing in San Miguel County. The unified statement from the San Miguel County Board of Commissioners and United Biomedical said county residents showed up for testing, quote, in larger numbers than we expected, and we continue to be inspired by the active participation and mutual efforts to slow the spread of COVID-19. We are all in this together, end quote. So we'll continue to see if this big experiment in San Miguel was worth it or not. Again, in the case of information gathering and data analysis, there are a lot of things that can skew the results one way or another. And by then, did it really help those who came down with the coronavirus? Or are there other projects and solutions that those in charge should or should not have been looking at again? Keep your immune system healthy. Wash your hands. Flu season generally is at its end in April, and we have yet to see any totals on the regular influenza season in the U.S. for number of cases and number of deaths for that. And Grand Junction Sentinel updated on the hunting seasons in Colorado, moving forward regardless of the coronavirus in the state. They write, with lakes thawing and big game season still a few months away, hunting and fishing hasn't been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The spring turkey season began on Saturday and runs through the end of May with no changes planned, said Randy Hampton of the Grand Junction office of Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Hunters who hold a spring turkey license and need to cancel those hunts could receive a full refund if the license had been postmarked or returned before last Saturday to be eligible. Fortunately, most of the things that people engage in terms of outdoor activities, hunting, fishing, etc., are pretty solitary, Hampton said. If we get into fall and the concerns continue about travel and people coming in, we'll take a look at those things. All of the information we've seen, by the time the big game season arrives, the major seasons arrive, we should be hopefully in a different situation, he said. The department is following the guidelines of state and county governments when it comes to any alterations and closures. Yuma County requested the suspension of spring turkey hunting in that area. Quote, "We're monitoring and continuing to respond in whatever way we need to. We're Parks and Wildlife Agency, not a public health agency," Hampton said. Really, counties have more authority in terms of limiting who they're letting in and not letting in, he said. Because hunting and fishing are more solitary activities, they're allowed under Colorado's stay-at-home edict. State parks are open, but campgrounds, shelters, picnic areas, and playgrounds in those parks are closed. A side note that also the Forest Service designated campsites are also closed. It's the issue of people traveling from other areas that counties are concerned about and what Parks and Wildlife will address if the pandemic extends closer to big game season. Archery season for deer and elk and black bear season begins September 2nd, with rifle season for deer, elk, and moose starting October 1st. Fishing is fishing, Hampton said, referring to the ability to stay close to home and still wet a line. Nobody loads up their ATVs and goes 6 states to go fishing. Some do, but those are a rare group for vacations, and most people are canceling those on their own. And today's High Canyon Country happenings. There was a nice turnout for the drive-through Easter Dash held by The Rock, reaching out to community and kids, with over 70 families of carloads picked up a box of food and Easter baskets for the kids in a special distribution event to substitute for the annual Rock Easter event that the kids have come to depend on the Saturday before Easter Sunday. Thanks to all those participating and making a difference in our community. The Easter Bunny also was wearing a face mask to protect. And also at the end of last week, you might have seen the Farmers Telecom workers up on the tower on the top of the courthouse. They're installing a system to provide additional options for high-speed internet to Dove Creek. If you can't get Zoomacom off the Bean Tower or DSL from CenturyLink isn't working out for you, last we heard they were not adding any new customers anyway, then perhaps give Farmers a call or go online to phone, that's phone.net, or call them at 970-562-4211 or 970-564-1824. It has been the work of the commissioners and many others to coordinate this option specifically so that the students can be sure to have access for finishing their online education this year. And the Colorado COVID-19, aka Wuhan coronavirus infection and attribution to deaths roundup, shows Colorado statewide with 7,303 cases, with 1,427 hospitalized. We are now up to 56 counties with at least one known case. Dolores County remains at 0, though it's unclear if even anyone has been tested within the county. Statewide, they're claiming 37,153 people tested, and sadly accounting a total of 290 deaths related to the virus in some manner. The Colorado State edict of a stay-at-home order remains in place to April 26 at this time. And I post up all of these High Canyon Country happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV Daily News, where you can also watch the program replay along with the news links and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station, so if you have something you'd like to share, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call us 970-677-4119. Thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday when the courthouse is open on Fridays, with replays online on our YouTube channel or DCTV Daily News on Facebook. And if you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your family and friends. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.